Hi, I'm Marsha Judd from All the Arts for All the Kids. And you remember the other day when we made clay? Well, today we're going to be using our clay to make a bas relief. A bas relief is a low relief, and it generally has texture, lots of features, and things that you can see the details. They adorned the outside of walls in ancient Roman times, as well as many of the cathedrals in Europe. We also see that contemporary artists have used them to decorate the outside of many modern buildings. So you can see that I've been wedging my clay. It kind of needs a little bit of freshening up. I'm going to grab a handful of it. I'm going to put my extra back in the bag so I can use it for our next project. Make sure to give this a nice twist so the air doesn't get to it, because remember, this is air dry clay. And what that does is the air will dry it. If you find that your clay is a little bit too hard or cracks readily, you can use just a little touch of water to freshen that out. Now, remember, for a bas relief, that means low relief. We're going to be making owls today. Also, we could make fish. We need things that have a lot of interesting texture and patterns in them, and you can see that I have many different tools to do that. These are tools that I have around the house. You can see popsicle stick, pencils, old marking pens, and again, a dowel. You're going to take your clay, and unlike the other day when we pinched it into a pot shape, we're going to actually be making this more like a pancake. Now decide if you're going to be making an owl. You can see from our posters and from our samples that they actually have a little bit of a bow in the head area where their ear tufts do come up. We also need to keep our shapes fairly simple. So for my ear tufts, I'm going to go ahead and use our pinching technique again and push down and pinch up for my other ear tuft. Now I do have extra clay for my feet and my beak. All right, so now at this point you can gently squeeze your clay to elongate the body. If you were doing something like a barn owl or a great horned owl, it might have a little bit longer body. Again, you can add the ear tufts with the pinching technique, but start to map out where the features of your owls would be. Remember that the eyes are one of the most prominent parts of the owl. Now I always take and put the beak on first, because the beak proximity and the placement of the eyes must be very close together. Owls are interesting because they have soundless flight. I make the beak kind of like a little triangle shape. And remember, I pinched that out a little bit further. Now, remember how we talked about adding just a little bit of water? And did you see that? That was just a tiny little touch of water. And sometimes I even touch the side of the container. I brush the back of it, and I decide where that beak is going to be. Now on this one, I'm going to give it a little bit more of an exaggerated beak. And you can see that now I can take my pencil or my tool and press that down gently. Remember that if your clay sticks, it means that it's too wet. Let it sit for a couple of minutes and harden up. Remember that this is air dry clay. Now, where do you think the eyes should go? Ah, that's right, close to the beak. And the reason is that owls actually have vision because they can turn their head almost 180 degrees. It's not as much for their vision as it is for their hearing. They also have tiny little nostril areas right along the edge here, and that helps them sense when their prey is near. They have very large pupils, So what we're doing is we're impressing the clay right now in an effort to make those features for our bas relief, which is, again, that low relief area. If we need to let our clay sit for a while, we do. But I'm going to go ahead and make the abdomen area. So I'll wrap this around for my wings. And you can see that I'm rotating or rolling the pen on the surface. I'm not actually impressing it in. So you can see the beautiful texture that that makes just by rolling the surface. Now their abdomen area, generally speaking, has little tufts of very patterned feathers. So you can see by using the end of the popsicle stick, I can get those little curved feathers like what we see for those patterns, which is part of their camouflage, because remember, they sleep during the day. They are nocturnal, and they need to blend in with their environment so that they cannot be seen by predators. Owls also have fine feathers up around the eyes and in the ear tufts. The ear tufts allow them to actually hear prey up to a mile away. So these are fine little feathers. And remember, don't try to push too hard on your clay because your clay is still soft. We're almost finished with our owls, and we will need to add 2 claws. Their talons are pretty impressive, and they can carry prey up to 8 miles. It's amazing. So you can see that I took just a little pinch of our clay. I'm rolling it into a ball, and I'm making 2 because we have 2 feet, 2 talons. And remember what we said, when we add a little bit, all we need to do is just a tiny bit of water. We're going to add that to the bottom here. And again, you can kind of wiggle it to make it stick. We'll go back in there with the tool in just a second and make those talons. And again, if it feels like you made it too wet, you can dab it on a piece of paper or just let it dry. And your bas relief owl is ready to have his talons added. I hope that you have enjoyed making an owl bas relief today with your clay that you made in your own kitchen. Thank you. Bye-bye.